All right, Adam, people asked us about how the rep ranges work in the app and why the rep ranges are what they are. I know part of it is Arnold, but can you try to explain?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to look at this, keeping in mind that there are many different ways to progress a workout. So some of this is inspired by Arnold, and you're going to see 3 primary techniques, but there's really about 7 different rep techniques, but I'm going to try and walk you through a couple of different variations, right? So one of them is going to be this idea of like pyramiding up with your reps, right? Where you start with the lowest number of reps, let's say 4, then you go up to 6, then you go up to 8. And this is one of those examples where Arnold very much, with a lot of stuff, and not just Arnold, but the bodybuilders of the golden age are a little bit ahead of the science. So when you think about it, if you're doing your first set as your heaviest set, first set mindset, right? A set of 4 reps, it's when you're freshest. You have the least amount of fatigue, and then you're going to go up in reps. And the idea is that you still want to maximize that motor unit activation while knowing that you're going to be a little bit more fatigued. So we want to use a weight that's a little bit more manageable so that you reduce the likelihood of getting hurt while still maximizing the training stimulus. So you are going all out, first set mindset. Use the heaviest weights that allow you to get within whatever the rep range is, and then you might see the reps go up, and that's just because it is accommodating for fatigue. And you're going to learn your strength. That it's very, very possible that you do a set that with 4 reps, and then you do 6, and you drop the weight, and you can do more than 6, and it's because you probably underestimated your strength, and that's just part of the in the lab, right? Strength is something that you learn and then will come in waves where you suddenly get stronger and you're like, what's going on? You just got stronger, but the idea is the lower the reps, the higher the weight. You might see a reverse pyramid, and it might seem a little paradoxical, but it's the same type of mindset where you're doing a higher rep set, say 12 reps, and then you are going down, with the idea being that you are increasing the weight. From that standpoint, you're looking at it from total volume. You're increasing your total volume because you are maximizing the amount of volume you can do with higher reps, because we know that you can build muscle with lower reps or with higher reps. We've seen that you can build as much muscle with a 30 rep set as you can with a 4 rep set. The difference is it's much harder to find your failure point at 30 reps than it is at 4 reps, right? You find a really heavy weight, you eke it out at 30 reps, you might still have another 5 or 10 right in the can. So Arnold kind of split the difference where a lot of these sets will be around 15, and the idea is that you are hitting near failure, about 1 to 2 reps within failure, still first set mindset, and then you're getting a little bit heavier is going on, but the amount of weight you can go up is actually less. So you're trying to maximize tension in slightly of a fatigue state. So think about it. If you were to start with a 4 rep set and work your way up to a 10 rep set, that 4 rep set would be very, very strong, very, very heavy weight. If you start with the 15 rep set and work your way down to a 4 rep set, when you get to that 4 rep set, you're not using the same amount of weight you would at that 4 rep set, but in that fatigue state. You're now only doing 4 reps, which means you are highly fatigued, but the number of reps you need to do is very, very low, which means your risk of injury is not high because you're not doing many reps. The risk of injury comes from when you don't listen to your body from fatigue, when you use more weight than you should, or when you progress to an exercise that you're not ready to do, not from any arbitrary rep range. So you're just working on both ends of the rep range to try and build muscle, but there's part of this that Arnold understood better than anyone, which is make your training fun. Why do you see different rep ranges? Because we know, right, that doing the reverse pyramid or the pyramid both work towards muscle gain, but if you do the same thing, Arnold didn't use a lot of different exercises. He used almost all the same exercises. What he did do is play around with different rep schemes, and for him, he could create competition, he could make it fun. So those are the 2 most primary, and then you will sometimes see straight sets, right, where you're doing 8 for all of them, or 10 for all of them, or 12, and this is just called a linear periodization. So what you're dealing is a pyramid, a reverse pyramid, or then linear, where like you're just doing 10 reps for all 3 sets, 12 reps for all 3 sets. And the idea is for all of this, you want to hit the rep range within 2 to 3 reps. So if we tell you to do 10 reps and you can only do 6 reps, the weight was too heavy. If we tell you to do 10 reps and you can do 14 reps, the weight is too light. So you're asking, hey, when it shows me 3 sets of 10 and then it goes up to 4 sets of 10, what do I do for that 4th set? Ideally, you do the same weight, but only if you can achieve it. And if you can't hit that rep, right? If you're brand new to this, that's just part of the game. Anyone in the app can tell you that it started where I can only do 2 reps, but then next week do 3, then 4, then 5. They build their way up. If you're doing body weight exercises and you can't progress yourself, the progression is just getting better, and that's the goal. That's why we show you the total weight. People freak out about, well, should I count 1 dumbbell or 2 dumbbell? And we give you a system for doing this, but all you need to look at is like, are you progressing over time? And we make it very easy for you to see that difference. So the different strategies are all designed, I think first and foremost was to make it fun based on what works, and then leveraging whether you're trying to maximize weight or whether you're trying to maximize fatigue to get the most out of your workouts. And when you're not sure if you're doing the right amount, use the rule of 2 or 3. You should be within 2 to 3 reps of the target rep range to help govern how much weight you should be using.
I like that. So would you tell people that the reason we tell them the total weight lifted at the end of the workout is because that's the best way to measure volume, because it's literally sets times reps times weight?
Yeah, it just makes it very, very easy to see if you're making progress, because what you'll see is people are like, well, what's the best way to build muscle? And we've given you a lot of tips, but the best studies are the ones that are volume equated. And what that means is you're doing the same total amount of volume. So let's say you did, right, 10 sets of 10 reps of something, right? So your total, and then you would have the weight. That's like, you know, the volume there is 100 unless you're using 10-pound weight. So it's 1,000, right? If something is volume equated, you could do, right, 100 pounds of 1 rep times 10 sets of that, and that would also be 1,000 pounds. And based on all the research we see, if the total amount of weight you are lifting is 1,000 pounds, assuming you're near failure in both conditions, that's the key thing, right? If you can do all those reps at 10 pounds and you're not fatigued at all, you're not near failure. But if your near failure condition is at 10 pounds for 10 reps with 10 sets and you're at failure there, versus 10 sets, or what was it, the 10 sets of 100 pounds, right? It's going to be 1 pound, right? You're
1 rep.
1 rep. 10 sets of 1 rep of 100 pounds. And if both are at your failure point, you're going to be building the same amount of muscle. So we tried to take all of that into consideration to make it incredibly easy for you to see that as long as that total volume is going up, that's the progressive part of progressive resistance, because you can adjust the load to improve volume, you can adjust the sets to improve volume, or you can adjust the reps. And the design of the workouts are done in a way that we keep it fun without needing a whole bunch of exercises. We keep you having progression, and we make it easy to see whether you are getting better or not.